You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Hey, yo, what up, everybody? It's your boy, Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders GeekFest Special. That's right. We're talking some film today, kiddos. We got an amazing guest, right? This homie has directed numerous projects, award-winning short films, right? I mean, he even produced a cult classic, El Baile de los Muertos, Dance of the Dead, yo. I mean, homie has been all over the place doing awesome stuff. Let me introduce the man. You know, you would think he's a one-man crew. Hey, pun may be intended. Let me bring the one, the only, uber talented Brian Crewe. Wepa, kiddo, how you doing?
I'm taping that intro and keeping it. I'm taking it with me wherever I go. That's amazing.
So what up, big homie? How you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Nah, man, I'm the one that's excited. Hold on. They're closing my door when I have internet signs that I need over there. My internet signal. So, yeah. I can't have the door closed. I have internet, people, and I'm live. Thank you. So thanks for joining me today to talk about, you know, these films you got going on. But of course, this is Comic Crusaders, and we need an origin.
All right.
Need to know where you from, where'd you grow up at, and what was your first taste of the fandom that led your way to what you're doing today?
Well, I was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Not exactly the film mecca of the world, but my origin story starts when I was like 3 years old, and my parents took me to Star Wars. And
Everybody sees Star Wars in the theater but me. Jeez.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I think it was one of like the first. I think it was like the '78 re-release, but that was my intro. I don't remember not having that film memorized, and you know, everything that I loved about film came from Star Wars, or going back home and watching things like Buck Rogers, Battlestar Galactica, The Incredible Hulk. All those, you know, all that stuff was what was kind of popping right when I was like impressionable and young, and it stayed with me the whole time. So that's when those kind of stories are what inspired me to make movies.
Oh, awesome. So were you only a movie fan, or did you have other fandoms, and did you even have a tribe growing up where you did?
You know, I definitely had, you know, I had a lot of other fandoms, but they were all film based. They're all out of movies. And I was definitely, you know, I started with Secret Wars was my first big comic book, and definitely attached myself to Spider-Man and X-Men, and that whole Claremont run is just legendary. You know, I was reading when McFarlane started his Spider-Man stuff and that kind of thing, and so those comic books were definitely kind of the sub interest, and it was just a lot of it reading those comics and dreaming of, you know, like in the 90s when Cameron was going to make a Spider-Man movie. It's like, oh my god, like the guy who made Aliens is going to make a Spider-Man movie. Like, I need that. I still need that movie. I wish they had made it.
We all do, but it's all right. We got, you know, Raimi's version, you know, and Rami's, I mean, dope Toby. And obviously we saw him come back, and people already talking, you know, are we going to get more Toby? There's possibility.
I want more Andrew. Andrew Garfield actually was my, of those was my Spider-Man. His charm and charisma in that role is so amazing.
See, thank you. Because this is what I tell people. I feel that Andrew captured Peter the right 100%. Way. And Tom captured Spider-Man. Cool. Yeah. You know, Toby, exactly. They're both pretty fun. But no, Peter is Andrew Garfield. No one's going to do a better Peter Parker than what he did. And I mean, even showed it in the Homecoming as well. So
100%.
That's my opinion. That's my opinion. All right. So did you have a tribe that you connected with that, you know, in your early days?
I had a buddy that I met in kindergarten named Eric Erstead, and he and I were kind of our tribe. We watched movies. We got on our dirt bikes, ET style, and drove to uptown in Minneapolis to the comic book college, the College of Comic Book Knowledge. Okay. And got our
real thing.
It was a real thing. Yeah. Back in the 80s, 90s. And you know, it's fun going to uptown, you know, where Prince was writing songs about that area. And that was kind of that environment you grew up in. It was a very creative place, but you're also in Minnesota on dirt bikes, driving around on dirt paths and going through, you know, around lakes, because land of 10,000 lakes, we have lakes everywhere. But that was kind of that freedom of just like, you're out finding the stories you like with your friends, and you have the freedom to kind of move around. So that it was a great time growing up that way.
Oh, awesome. So talk to me then about, you know, when did the creative spark start tickling in your brain?
Yeah, well, that first part was I got out of high school, just did not want to go to college, didn't have any reason to go to college. So I went where I thought I belonged, which was the video store. And
Hey.
after a couple of years, worked my way up, was managing one of the video stores in our area, and then really realized after 6 months of that retail sucks.
Yes.
But what I found out was that there were guys, Quentin Tarantino at the time, who had been a video store clerk, Kevin Smith, who had been a clerk, and Robert Rodriguez were all making movies. And I think to me, making movies was Steven Spielberg. It was George Lucas. These were my idols. And there was no way a kid from Minnesota could hit those lofty heights. But suddenly there's, Robert Rodriguez selling his blood and making movies for $7,000, and clerks and Kevin Smith doing it in the convenience store he worked at.
I saw El Mariachi, the OG, in the theater.
Oh, nice! I missed that. I didn't see it in the theater. That's
I got
that's
one
good
on
bragging
you.
rights. That's good bragging rights there. I know. I don't think I've ever seen that one yet in a theater. I've seen obviously Desperado and the rest of them, but I never saw.
Yeah, I saw Desperado too in the theater, but then Mariachi, I was dating a Mexican girl at the time. She goes, "Oh my God, this is new movie. Would you like to go see it? It's independent." I'm like, "Oh, why not?" Man, I loved it. I thought, oh, this is so cool, different.
That's awesome.
It.
Yeah, I mean, the one that got me actually was not Clerks, it was Mallrats, because it was shot in a mall called Eden Prairie in Minnesota, and I used to go to that mall and talk about comic books and Star Wars and sex and video games and the whole thing. And so it was like, wait, they shot a movie about me in my mall. That's really weird. And so suddenly I felt very connected to like, oh, you can do this. Like they're coming to my town to do it. And so that kind of opened the door. And that's when I went to community college in Minneapolis, got an associate degree, really felt like I had the bug, transferred to USC Film School out here in California. And when you get there, and when it's, they have a THX certified theater on campus and a George Lucas educational building. And that's when you talk about a tribe, that's when I found my tribe. That's when I found people who spoke in movie references, and they understood my language in my head that I usually didn't say out loud because nobody would know what the hell I was talking about.
Like, what is this psycho talking about here? Jesus.
Yeah. Like even my family, I'll occasionally we'll be on vacation, walking over suspension bridges, and I'm going, strong bridge, strong wood, and I trying to make Temple of Doom references, and they have no idea what I'm talking about.
Like, are you okay, son? Are you want to sit down?
Yeah, I was like, is Brian all right? He seems a little off.
He's in on that wacky tobacco again. No. Too funny. So, what was it like when you first picked up a camera or started learning the process? Was this something that was easily absorbed, through your excitement or learning curve?
It was definitely a learning curve. I think the funny thing about being a filmmaker is there's so many disciplines within being a filmmaker, and the camera was never quite the instrument that called to me. It was the editing machine. It was putting the shots together. It was telling the story, because it is the hard stuff, but it's the coolest thing is like when you think about a movie, like it's not just the images, it's the sound, it's the music, it's all those other disciplines of making movies that come together. And that's what editing allows you to do. That's what makes film unique, is it takes photography and music composition and theatrical stage acting and all those things and melds it into one art form. And the editor is the one who gets to control and manipulate that. And that's where I was kind of like, oh, this is the fun thing, because when I get done, I can go like, movie, there's a movie there. Yes. I made the movie, and you make it look and sound like a movie. And that's the fun part.
So what was those first times like in that editing chair? Was it something strenuous for you? Did you have fun? Did you really enjoy it at first? Or it was like, oh my God, what am I doing? What did I get myself into?
Definitely, because back in the day we were cutting on film. So there was definitely a little learning curve there.
Oh, you're a filmmaker. Oh, I got a treat to show you then.
Oh yeah? What do you got?
Man, my next door neighbor just hooked this up and gave it to me. He goes, I don't know. I don't have a use for this.
Oh wow, the Super 8. Yep, that's where my first movies were on.
Oh really? Yeah. So you know how to mess with these bad boys?
It's been about 25 years, but yeah, I know those guys. Yep, I think I still have one in my closet. It's a little bigger, but yeah, those things are great. It's like editing spaghetti. This film is about that big.
All right, so basically, I'm in for it if I try to mess with it. Gotcha.
Oh, but you'll get something that looks beautiful. It's good. I mean, these days you can just shoot with it, get the look, and transfer it to digital and edit it that way. And that way you got that great film quality, but you don't have to worry about it. But I think the time I knew I was good for editing was I went out and shot a vampire film that I'm never going to show anybody because it's terrible for these days. But I was in class and my instructor was watching the dailies and he's like, "Oh, look at you! You're shooting on the same 30-degree line. That'll be jump cuts. It'll never cut together. Never work." And I was like, "No, it's going to work. I had a plan for that." He's like, "No, it's not going to work." And I was like, "No, it'll work." And I'm arguing with him in a class of 20 people. He's a teacher. He literally wrote the book on filmmaking. And I came back the next week and cut it to music and had cut on motion. And it was like, well, it works if you cut it together like that. I was like,
right. I taught you, teach.
Yeah. So, I mean, and honestly, I love that teacher, Bruce Mamer. He just passed away. He was a great man. But it is one of those moments where you feel like, okay, I can, you assert yourself in a way and find a way to kind of create and express yourself that they didn't think was possible. And that's a really invigorating moment, I think, when you're an artist.
That's a huge win, actually. Shit, in my mind, like, yo, I mean, you proved the teacher wrong. It's like when you finally prove your parents wrong. It's like, oh, okay, haha. I mean, you don't want to brag about it, but inside you're smiling from ear to ear. Like,
yeah, you don't want to talk too loud, but
I told you. Oh, awesome. So was it a heavy learning curve for you, or again because of your excitement, you just absorbed it like a sponge?
I think I absorbed a lot of it like a sponge, but I think the cool thing I like about filmmaking is I'm always learning. Like I'm here, 20, 25 years later on the other side of starting film school. And I still, every time I show up, I'm learning something new. And really the shorts that I make are always an exercise in trying something I've never tried before. Like you look at something like our film Flat Earther is a film that was shot in 1 9-minute take. There's no edits in it. So I'm the editor. Editing is my strength. And I took that tool away so I could learn how to tell a story without it. And like the other film, Cabaseo, I'd never done a dance film. So now I got to learn not how to tell a story with dialogue, but how to tell a story with dance movement. And it's always
you a dancer?
I took some dance classes. And as I was taking the class, really because I'm an introvert and I sit here a lot editing and there's no place, you got to have some human interaction. So I started taking dance classes just to like get out and talk to people or meet people. And then suddenly it's like, oh, wait a minute, you could use this to tell a story. And then you start watching Bob Fosse films and Gene Kelly. And it's like, oh, that's you. And suddenly I want to put my hat in that ring and try to do that, try to tell a story with dance, which I had never done before.
That's awesome. So which one came first, Flat Earther or Cabaseo?
Conceptually, Flat Earther came first. The trick is though, that we shot them simultaneously. So
what?
We rented one location in Pomona, California, which is just a little outside Los Angeles, so it's a lot less expensive to rent a bar. And we moved in the first day, shot Flat Earther because it's one take, although we shot it 6 times. So there were 6 potential versions of that movie we could have used. Okay. And then the production designer, Mickey Shatterland, redressed the set the next night back into a dance club because that's what it usually is. And we started shooting Cabaseo, and that took 4 days. But essentially, it's the same location, mostly the same crew, and the same gear. And the time-saving thing of that when you're making a movie is the hardest part is it's a lot of gear and it's a lot of people to mobilize, and it takes time to move in every day. You lose like an hour and a half moving in because you're just lugging boxes and gear and setting up lights. We didn't have to do that. We were in the same spot. We just moved in, started shooting. We moved out on the last day, and we had 2 films.
Oh wow, dude! You hear this, guys? Jesus Christ! So, talk about that experience in building a team to put this together. Is that you, or you have somebody that actually handles that for you?
Well, fortunately, you were talking about earlier about building a tribe, and that really starts with USC Film School. My cinematographer was my roommate at college. He was just assigned to me, and we were friends, and now he's a DP, and we work together. My first friend I made in a class was Barry Wise. He's the editor of Cabaseo. One of my good friends who I go see movies with and talk Star Wars with is DJ Lynch. He owns a sound studio in Burbank, mixes SpongeBob SquarePants and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and all those cartoons. If I need sound help, I can just I call him. So it says that builds the tribe. And then I also built my tribe working out in the industry. And the key for this one was I had been working at G4, the video game network. Yeah. And I used to edit Attack of the Show and X-Play and those things.
Oh, man, I love the old school Attack of the Show, man.
Yeah, no, we did a lot of those sketches. And one of the guys, Matt Kyle, was a producer on X-Play, and he and I are just friends. And one day he was like, "What are you working on? What are you working on next?" It's been a couple of years since I'd done a short film, and he was like, "What do you got? What are you working on?" And I was like, I told him my idea to do these 2 films back to back, and he was like, "I want in." And then suddenly I had a producer.
Wow.
And it was just,
Wow.
I wasn't asking him. I was just like, I had said I wanted to do this. I wanted to make a couple movies, and you just kind of keep putting it out into the world and telling people you're going to do it. And hopefully, if you acquired the right tribe along the way, they're going to be there to help you and have your back. And that's what happened with Matt, which was great. And he was a wonderful collaborator. And he ended up actually, because Flat Earther's based in a stage play, and he worked with the actors and I to help adapt the script from stage to screen. So he's got a writing credit on that too.
Oh, that is so far, because I actually spoke to a documentary filmmaker yesterday that has a movie called The Horror Crowd documentary, Ruben Pla. And he's always said that, it's like, just say yes. When they offer you an opportunity, say yes. How can I help? I'm in. No problem. This is how he met James Wan and a whole bunch of other people and got roles in Insidious, etc. You know, I'm like, whoa, bro. He goes, yeah, just, right place, right time. And if somebody needs help, say yes, because you never know what door opens up.
100%.
Kiddo. That's awesome. So this is how the film industry works. Just say yes. Okay.
Pretty much. When you're starting out, you got to say yes. You got to be careful sometimes, but yeah, you got to. It really is just, I think it's the old quote: 99% of success is just showing up.
Ain't that the truth? And talk about showing up. Let's show something right now. We mentioned Flat Earther and Cavestell. So first up, let me bring up the trailer for Flat Earther, and we could talk a little bit about that.
Okay, cool. Let's try to talk.
I was reading about this group, the Flat Earthers.
Oh, God, right.
One of these jokers took a level on a plane to show that it didn't move. 12 million hits on YouTube. The video debunking it, 1.5 million.
That's embarrassing. And I don't just mean that you're keeping track of those numbers. Government's got so many secrets.
Yeah. It's hard to not be skeptical of things like Tuskegee out there. JFK.
9/11.
Starting a war over non-existent weapons of mass destruction.
Gun control. It was a false flag.
12 students and 3 teachers were shot dead.
Not everything they show you is real.
Now the whole we faked the moon landing thing, it's...
Well. Kidding. I'm kidding.
Wepa, things are being said there. Holy smokes. Man, we were talking about in the green room. I seen a documentary about this, and I found that to be absolutely insane. But hey, that's just my opinion. Talk to me. What's the concept behind Flat Earther? That take and the cast and these theories that are being thrown there. Cool stuff, man.
Thank you. It was based on a stage play that was written by a buddy I went to film school with, Mario Rivas, who's from Mexico City. And I've known Mario for years. And one day he was just like, I got this little play. It's playing down in San Pedro. Do you want to go see it? And I was like, yeah, I do. Saw it. And it was like, that's a movie. We should make that into a short film. That's a short film right there, because it takes place in a bar. You have character development. You have a great little twist. And at the end, you don't see coming really. And then I had this idea of like, oh, it's a stage play, and stage plays, are uninterrupted. There's no editing. We could do it as one shot. And I got really excited about that. And I think what I responded to it was his play came out in like early 2018. It was right after, we had a certain guy in the White House that not a lot of us like. And
I call him the orange one.
that is an accurate description. The ugly orange thing was in the White House. And the play was kind of talking about a mindset and a way of thinking that society seemed to have been going down. And it's interesting, as that play was written in 2018. We shot it in February 2020, so 3 weeks before the travel lockdown, before COVID.
Wow.
And I think even in lockdown, when we were kind of sitting on the movie waiting to release it because we wanted to go to film festivals and we wanted people to see it on the big screen and in person, my producer Matt and I were kind of wondering, like, did we make a period piece? Like, is this not going to connect? Is it going to change? And then the conspiracy theories and the gun violence and things just got worse and worse and worse. And it was just like, oh wow, okay, no, bizarrely, unfortunately, tragically, this is it seems actually more and more relevant every day, which I really wish we had made a period piece, and it wasn't. But but here we are. And you know, when I like to make a film though, and what I liked about the Flat Earther play that Mario wrote was that it, like, we were all talking about it at the end, like it was this conversation piece. Yeah. And to me, film and filmmaking and what you do is it's a running conversation that you always are bringing people into. And so when we went to cast the film, I wanted to bring in actors that I knew I could converse with and talk with the ideas about. And I'd worked with this amazing actor, Joe Holt, on another kind of political cartoon kind of movie called Electoral Emissions, where we were spoofing the 2012 election as if the presidential candidates were trying to take care of your car and how they were wrecking your car and fixing your car. And we needed somebody who had an Obama-esque nobility to play our mechanic. Oh, no. And another actor recommended Joe, and Joe was great. And it was a really wonderful working with him because he could talk about not just the political issues, but he could also relate that to how to act them and how to express them. And that was a really great, you know, kind of conversation partner and a translator from the ideas to the execution. And so I knew I wanted him in. And then he said, you know, who's going to play the female role? Do you have somebody? I was like, I haven't yet. I don't really know. And he was just like, I got the person. Her name is Amy Sloan. And I go look up Amy's website or webpage, you know, on IMDb. Yeah. Look at her credits, and she played Leonardo DiCaprio's mother in The Aviator.
Oh, say word.
Yeah,
Wow.
And so I was like, oh, wait a minute, Joe and Martin Scorsese recommends her. I think we're good. I think we're going to be okay. We, you know, if Joe and Marty are on board, I think we're going to be fine with Amy.
But you know I'm on a first name basis. It's Marty. Gotcha.
Yeah, no. I'd love to meet you, Marty, please.
Oh, that's crazy. That's funny. All right, yeah. So that's that film. But you're a busy man because you did it simultaneous. Because you're just a madman and you like to punish yourself apparently. So,
well, you know, it's a lot of resources to make a movie. So if you're going to do it, you might as well really get a lot of bang for your buck.
You know what? That's 100. Take advantage of the tools that you got while you have them.
Exactly.
Yeah, bro. I get you. So let's see how we dance in Cabeceo. Wepa, they get it done. Very nice. My gosh, a lot of the colors being used to create the scenery. You could tell there was some anger, there's issues, there's drama here. What is popping? What inspired this? How did it get all started? And elaborate on those camera angles and those colors being used.
Well, you know, it oddly enough started with geeky stuff. Still, it started with Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas. I was taking tango classes with Jen Berry, who you saw there playing Sally. And she was my dance instructor. She was teaching me salsa, she was teaching me swing, and she was teaching me tango. And I fell in love with tango. Like, tango has this kind of formal structure, but it's really sexy and it's all nonverbal, and there's these awesome pauses where you can get those great poses like you see on our poster. And I just really kind of fell in love with it. And she was like, oh, our dance school does this little recital every year. Like, recital, like my little sister used to drag me to, and I don't want to. But she
all of a sudden you're like, yes, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. So but I was like, okay, that could be fun. And then I was like, well, how would you tell a story? And I thought, oh, there's this Fiona Apple cover of Sally's song from Nightmare Before Christmas, and I really liked that song. And I was like, that you could do a tango to that. That could be cool. And suddenly I get like ideas, and I did what I guess none of her students have done, is I wrote a story and asked her to choreograph a story to the song. And what we realized was, at least just for Sally's song, it's a little different in the movie, but for Sally's song, it was a really boring story because Sally's obsessed with Jack at the beginning and she's obsessed with Jack at the end. There's no change. Yeah. And so what I said was, well, when we're choreographing this, what if she decides on the third time she says, no, I think not, I think he's not the one, she actually isn't lamenting it, she's made a choice. I'm moving on. You're not the one. And suddenly we're doing a dance film we're doing a dance live in front of an audience that has a story and a character change. And I thought, that's cool. How would we film something like that? Like, how do you do that? And so then I started thinking about, okay, well, if I'm going to do it in a movie, I got to bring in lighting. I got to bring in costumes. I got to get original music. I can't use that song. That's Tim Burton's.
Yeah.
I got to find all this other new stuff. And so that really got me kind of creatively excited to dive in.
And you hadn't done that before, right? Like on that scale?
Way. No, I've done movies, and I'm using my usual composer and my usual cinematographer. And I found a great costume designer at the Phoenix Film Festival, Alina Avet, and she came in and designed all the costumes. And I'd done all these parts of the process before, but never in this configuration. And like the most interesting part of that is that my usual composer, Darren Fung, when you do music, it's like, for anybody who knows, like we were talking about Star Wars earlier, like John Williams is the last guy. Like, he comes in after the whole movie's done and does your score, and he's the cherry on top. In this case, dancers can't dance without music. So he had to be the first person there. And so he's choreographing to air. There's nothing. And so there was this kind of back and forth dialogue that took 5 months between myself as the storyteller, the dancers as the movement, and the composer as the musician, to try to find a way to get all three of those to work together. And so we'd have to go back and forth, and he gives a little temp mock up, and then we do some choreography, and then we come back. And it took a lot. We started rehearsing like in October, and we didn't record the music till the end of January, and we shot in middle of February. So there's this whole storytelling, there's this whole process to learn how to tell the story together. They again, conversation partners. These guys now became my conversation partners in telling this story, but it didn't have any dialogue. We're telling it with music, and we're telling it with movement.
How challenging was it really overall, even with that process for you as the person, putting it together? Like, how challenging was it?
The challenging thing was huge, just because I can't I can't draw. I'm not an artist. So I'm trying to, so nobody got storyboards, nobody got a production sketch. I'm kind of communicating with words and describing it. And that was the hardest part, was to communicate with Darren, the composer, because he's like, okay, I mean, like, she's going to walk from here to here and do this. And I was like, he's like, well, how long is that going to take? And I was like, 8 seconds. He's like, what is that in music? And I'm like, I don't know. I can't play anything. I can't play music, and so I'm just relying on these talented people. But thankfully, our lead dancer, Jen Barry, is also a violinist, and she speaks music. So I brought her into Darren's studio and said, I need you to come over here and do that.
Do the thing, yeah.
And do the pirouette or whatever. And she came in and did her twirl and her dance and her thing and said, that's 8 bars. And Darren's like, 8 bars. I can use that. 8 bars. Great. And then
what's 8 bars in time? I'm lost.
I was like, okay, it's at 8 bars long. I need 3 of those. I need 24 bars of that idea. And then he could go off and use that and then we were speaking music, but we had to have a translator between, I was the story and she was the movement, and she was the music, and she translated between the two. And that's how we got the music actually going. It was like, we needed to, like, I've worked with him for 15 years, but suddenly we couldn't talk to each other. It was really
It's hilarious, right? You both know English, but when it came to music, it's like a whole different language. Like,
I don't speak it, and he doesn't need me to speak it in a normal movie because he's got a picture. It's like, I gotta just do it to what I see, but he couldn't see anything this time.
Amazing. Well, it's dope. I mean, and these are showing where again? Right now?
These are let's see, I gotta actually look outside here. We got a lot of film festivals coming up. The big one coming up for a lot of people is going to be First Glance Philadelphia, because we're playing both films at that festival.
Hey, you're gonna play both? Oh man, you going in with a twofer? Hey,
we're going in they take both. We're also playing both at Fort Lauderdale. And we're playing both here in Los Angeles at the NoHo Cine Fest, which is in Glendale. And then Flat Earthers playing in Knoxville, Catalina Island here in California. And we're actually nominated for Best Drama at the Chicago Southland Film Festival in October. And then Cabaseo is going to be playing here in LA at the Chinese Sixth Theater on Hollywood Boulevard on September 13th.
Really?
Very excited about that, right next to where they have the Oscars. And then we're also playing the New Jersey Film Festival and the Newport Beach Film Festival back here in California.
Wow, man. How do you have time? Who submits all this? Is that all you too?
That's me. I'm a one-man, that's where the one-man band comes in, is where all the graphics, the festival, the trailers, all that's my work, making sure we, spread the word and everybody knows where to watch the film.
you would truly inspire Robert Rodriguez because he was also a one-man band. I actually
Oh
had the
yeah,
honor of talking to him when he
yep.
directed that Billie Eilish special. So we were
Oh,
talking
nice.
about that, and he dope human being, man, very smart,
He
yo,
is.
and what he
I
does.
interviewed him for Spy Kids back in the day, and he's just
Yeah.
he knows his stuff.
And I want to call them the one-man band. He started laughing. Like, oh shit, bro,
I mean,
really
he is
taking me
literally
back.
he could actually talk music. I can't. He can actually play music.
Oh wow, really? There, look at that. For me, nothing. I hit play. What you want me to point that?
Exactly. I mean, when Robert Rodriguez is like Quentin Tarantino is bringing him in to score Kill Bill Volume 2, you know Robert Rodriguez has multiple talents.
Yeah, right. Isn't that crazy? Awesome. I mean, well, you're gonna be getting these opportunities soon yourself. Don't you worry, kiddo. You're gonna be working with rock stars and A-listers, and we're gonna see this all
Well,
over the place because you got
we actually
vision,
already
yo.
we got a little pop star in the film called her name is Ella, and she's one of our dancers, and her pop song closes is the end credit song for Cabaseo, and I
Oh,
definitely
word.
definitely recommend checking out her music. So we got a little burgeoning rock star in our, or pop star I should say, in our movie.
So based on what we've been talking about, I gotta ask here: are your friends, hesitant to take you any place? Because it seems like you go someplace and you're like, we could make a movie out of this.
Well, I mean, I don't think they're too hesitant because they know that eventually the hardest hiccup, I can make a movie about anything, but it's do I have the money to make that movie?
Okay. They start teasing you. They're like, oh, can you
It's
do it though?
yeah,
And
it's relatively pretty safe, but I mean, I think that you're always got to be looking, have your eyes open for that opportunity. Like I had no idea when I went and saw Mario's stage play that I was gonna walk out of there. I was like, cool, my friend's making a play, and even afterwards, I was like, you should make that into a movie. That should be your movie. And he just didn't quite have the inspiration to make it into a movie. He's like, I did a play, it's done, it's fine. And I was like, no, I see something here, we can do that. So you never really know where that's going to come from, but it's kind of a miracle when it actually comes through from the idea to actually being able to get the resources. And I really got to credit my producer, Matt Kyle, because he's the guy who got the resources, and our other producer, Regis Terencio, who found that location, coordinated with the police department, the paramedic office, and got all those
wow.
things and made that happen. Because it's, on the first two, because, it's restaurants and bars, we have 30 extras in both films, plus a crew of 30. So two of those nights we had 60 people on set trying to make these movies happen. So it's certainly, we talk about the one-man band, but it's not. There are a lot of people making me look good.
60 people. Wow. No wonder you had to shave it all off. Well,
Oh
I
yeah, no,
understand
this
now,
went away right after film school. This has been gone.
he felt the stress. He goes, okay, that's off now, and then that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
We get rid of the hair and cover up the wrinkles. We're all good.
Yeah, hey man, I hear you. So talk to me. What's next? What's in the future? You're doing these awesome film festivals, which these joints are gonna win when people catch their eyes on it. It's gonna happen, but don't go like this, bro. All right, brush your shoulders off. You got this, kid. Everybody's gonna be like, yo, this is the business. What else you got planned? What's up your sleeve? What's in that brain of yours for the future?
Well, we got three big things. I'm working with Jennifer Berry from Cabaseo. We're gonna start working on a documentary for Imagine LA about the homeless crisis in Los Angeles.
Oh wow!
And then I got a really cool TV project that I'm excited about. You can go on my webpage, filmcrew.com, and watch the proof of concept trailer. Thank you. It's called Keystone. And it's about the early days of filmmaking here in Los Angeles, about Keystone Studios, which was run by Max Sennett, where Charlie Chaplin got his start. But it's really about Mabel Normand, who is this amazing silent film actress who was a director, a stunt woman. She was a producer. She had her own production company with her name on the building at one point. She produced the highest grossing film in cinema history from 1916 to 1935 called Mickey.
What?
Also was the first film to have its a hit single, if you can imagine, in 1916.
Really?
But nobody really, yeah, exactly. Nobody really knows her name. So I've got a great TV pilot and Bible about this lost film star that nobody really, people have kind of forgotten about and don't know existed, but she started a lot of things in our industry. And really about a time in LA in film history where women were accepted as directors and as all those job roles. And it's something that we kind of lost when we transitioned to sound. And that transition is kind of what the show's about.
Oh man, that goes to say a lot about people. It's like, okay, as long as you're quiet, right? Oh my God, that's horrible.
Right? Oh yeah. No, and she was not a quiet person. For a silent film star, she was anything but quiet. And then the other thing we're working on right now, I'm writing a script with my buddies Tony Camerata and Abel Penne, and it's called Calypso, and it's a sci-fi film. It's about the first manned faster than light ship to another solar system and what they find there.
Do you hear this, folks? He goes from dance to spec to documentaries, sci-fi. Jesus Christ, bro! How the hell do you do it, man? How do you
Like I
do
said,
this?
I'm a film student, and every time I take on a new project, I want to learn something. So if I'm studying film history, then I find a TV script. If I want to learn about what's going on in the city I live in. So all these things are kind of about just continuing to learn and be open to the world out there.
So how do you manage time? With doing all these things.
That time is the biggest problem because I do have a day job editing. And so, a lot of that time is taken up with that. And then it's just kind of, each night and each weekend, you kind of got to carve out a moment or a place, or if I'm going to a film festival, I can get a lot of writing done in an airplane. So it's just finding the moments that you can and setting deadlines. Deadlines are the ultimate thing. You got to have deadlines. Otherwise you can just sit there and watch the wheel spin. And also, though, the other biggest thing, and I can't emphasize enough, is just having good friends and partners around you to keep you going. Because like I was sitting on that sci-fi idea for a year, and until I got together with Abel and Tony, and they sat down and started making appointments and schedules for me, and we started hitting deadlines. It has to be done by this time. We weren't making much progress, but now we're making progress because they keep me honest. And it's having a lot of talented friends that and partners that you can work with that keep you going. Because again, like it's like I said, we joke about the one-man band, but it's really not. It's really having, like you called it, a tribe, the tribe that keeps you going, and having the right partners for the right project and the right thing that keeps you involved and engaged and moving.
You see how important tribes are? I'm blessed with an amazing tribe as part of the Crusaders and Undercover Capes. So I love my people. We all get together, we get it done. So I understand that wholeheartedly. Very lucky person, those that have that in their life, because obviously you get to accomplish a lot.
Yeah,
and look at you.
Yeah. Well, I think the funnest thing is when you find your thing and you find a way to make it happen. And I think that's the funnest part is, every once in a while you'll talk to somebody and they're just kind of living in life. But if you can find a thing you're passionate about and do that, that's what it's all about. That's the funnest thing.
Agreed, 100. So, well, what type of advice would you give to someone that also is trying to step into the arena, if you will, of filmmaking, production, editing, all that? What type of advice would you give them, as a youngin trying to step in?
Like we were talking about, show up at the events, show up at the places, network. I think Robert Rodriguez is talking about slap your name on that business card and have it say whatever job title you want it to be: producer, writer, director, editor, DP, whatever that is. Slap that on your business card so you can hand it to people. Now you're one of those people. And the other thing is just practice. You were showing me that Super 8 camera, and it's like, it was hard as hell back in the day to get your practice, because you had to go send that to the lab and then chop it up, and it had tape on it, and it was just a mess. And like Super 8, you couldn't do sound, but we all had movie cameras with editing software on these little boxes. And you can practice. You can go out there and, like, a lot of I'll be posting making of videos on our webpage for both films, and you'll see in the making of Cabaseo, I would go up to the dance rehearsals with the cell phone, tape what they were doing, and do the camera moves I wanted. The lighting wasn't there or anything, but I could do the camera move, and then I'm on set. And you'll see it on the making of videos. I'm with the camera operators and going, okay, I'm going to line up the video with where we are now. And you can see the shot that I want, that I did in the rehearsal space, and how it's supposed to play out in here. So, I mean, you can practice and cut and shoot and tell stories. They don't have to be polished. Because let me tell you, we all have bad films, and I got those out of the way in student films. So you can make your bad films on your cell phones and just practice. And they don't have to be good. Nobody has to see them. But you can still get the exercise out and get the practice out. So when you do get to the situation, you've been through it, you've problem solved, you know what's going on. So I'd say networking and practice.
You hear that, folks? NMP, right? Networking and practice, and hopefully we'll get to see that horror movie you did. You're gonna edit it to make it look good, right?
yeah, always. I mean, it's funny. I always use, when I direct, I always use another editor, so somebody else again has my back.
There you go.
That way, it's like somebody's watching me going, that was a really great idea, but I can make it better. And that's the great thing when you watch Cabaseo, my editor Barry Wise, who cut CSI, Gotham, that show Pennyworth. He's working on National Treasure right now for Disney Plus. Ooh. He's got my back. He put ideas and things with my footage that I never thought of. and made it sing. And that's the best thing, is when you got people who can contribute and make your ideas better ideas.
Oh man, and they're in good places too. So opening even further doors for you, which is going to be amazing. That's great, bro.
Well, he's just a friend. I go have Thanksgiving dinner with him once a year, so it's just him and his family's my family. It's good.
Hey, that's right. So I just want to give you your flowers, kiddo. Josh, thank you for being brave and bold enough to put your vision out there. To do what you do. Not many of us could do that. That's why, as we were talking before, like I hate when people want to be down on others. But don't talk crap unless you could do what they do. You know what I mean? Right. And look at you. You're a master of your craft, and you think every time you go, oh, we could do this here. We could. I love talking to people like you, because you're always on the money. You got an idea. You got something. So all that means is that in the future, there's nothing but greatness coming for you. Let's manifest. When are we getting the feature? When are we gonna get that big feature film that I'm gonna see in IMAX, bro? It's
Sounds
coming.
Good. You're sending the energy from Brooklyn. I'm feeling it in Studio City. Here we go.
Let's talk about. You're gonna do this, kid. I can't wait to see those documentaries. Especially with the homeless situation. Oh, I can't wait to see that and that legendary star you just spoke about. That sounds like uber interesting. That sounds like something that could even be more than just a film. It sounds like something that could be a show.
The Keystone's a TV series. That would be a TV series.
4th season?
That's all plotted out. It's ready to go. Just put me in touch with it's like we need to get in touch with Marty again, the film historian, and see if he can
get it done, kiddo. Yeah. Let's make this happen, because that sounds so super interesting and something that's probably needed nowadays too, so people can understand. Like, listen, opportunities are there. Just when technology change, minds change a little bit for some odd reason, but it's okay.
That's okay. We'll get them back.
Exactly. You're gonna show them how they did it back then, and it's exactly what we need nowadays. So, bro, again, I want to thank you for your time. I want to give a big shout out to my big homie Billo, because Film Fest, also First Glance Film, right there. Check it out. See, not just his amazing films right here, all right, but all the other filmmakers as well. Because listen, you guys are gonna be confused, but I know you're gonna love these two for sure.
Yeah, right? Well, and please come to First Glance. I plan to be there with both films, so if you're in Philly, please come out and say hi.
Yeah, go! It's in Philly, you heard? All right, and of course, please follow the big homie, and so you can keep up to date with everything he's doing on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Film Crew. And that's FilmCrewe. All right, and of course, the website as well is also Film Crew with an E. All right, check it out .com. Support, show the love. Tell him Mega sent you, the Crusaders sent you. When you say you love what he's doing, because this is the future right here. All right, my homie's killing it. He's smashing it, and hopefully you'll be doing one in New York soon, because you got close with Philly. When is the New York Film Festival coming? Where you're going to be making an appearance?
We're coming, because Joe Holt, our lead actor from Flat Earther, is New York based. So he and I are both pushing to get it out there. So it's coming.
Let's get it. Bring it to Brooklyn or Manhattan. I'm there, kiddo. Support.
Right now, as close as I got for you right now, Cabasea is playing in Jersey.
In Jersey, yeah, I heard it stinks, so only playing. I don't want send hate mail to Johnny Hughes. No, I'm only playing, but hopefully I could get to see one of these in person, and you're gonna hear that somebody was screaming "Wepa" the whole time. That'll be me. Don't you worry. All right, because I know I'm gonna enjoy what you do. So with that, thank you again, Brian. You rock. And folks, you know what to do, right? Check out my extended family of undercovercapes.com. But of course, check out everything we do at comiccrusaders.com when we talk to people like this and amazing comic book creators and entrepreneurs. I mean, the whole business. We do it all, because I love talking to people like this, because they keep me inspired. So just again, thank you for allowing me to hang out with you, chat, and BS about this whole awesome business that you be doing, and just blessing others and building community and networking and those tribes. Shout out to your whole tribe too. That helps, man.
Thank you. I just, you put me on a tweet this morning with Brian Michael Bendis. You made my day before we even started. So thank you, sir.
No problem, kiddo. I mean, again, this is what I'm saying, I'm surrounded by amazingly talented people, man. So I'm the one that's truly blessed at the end of the day to be able to, again, politic with folks like yourselves. It's a true blessing. So thank you again for your time. I appreciate it. Mi gente, you know what it is. Hasta la próxima. Wepa! Hey! Hey, there we go. Don't you love it when technology doesn't work right?
Later.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.